Jesus Christ, thank God. I finally beat Robocop. Ugh. Holy shit, that was painful. Who on earth could that be? Why, it's some kind of letter. That's weird. This is addressed to me from Robocop in Neo Detroit. Dear Corgi Butts, thank you very much for playing my game. As a token of my gratitude, I would like to give you the following gift. Cancer! Hey friends, thanks for turning back to the channel one more time and not losing too much faith over me being gone for so long. I told myself I was going to do one of these videos a month, but November and December were just kind of crazy. And then I came up with the idea for this video, and I thought it was going to be one thing, and it kind of went another direction, and it made me lose motivation. And then I discovered Kenshi, which is possibly the best game in the whole world, and that kind of derailed me even further. And then I started doing other hobby stuff like painting miniatures and doing other stuff, and it really just delayed me. I think you can hear my dog barking in the background, making me mad, but that's okay. Eye on the prize. All right, so this game was sent to me by one of my friends named Garrett Bro. He sent me a picture of his Xbox collection, said, hey, I'm gonna go sell all this stuff, but if you want any, I'll sell it to you. So I said, heck yeah, I want this, 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 and this. And he said, out of the graciousness of his heart, I'm just gonna send it to you for free. What's your address? So in the mail arrives this box of Xbox games, and in it is Robocop. And I told him how excited I was to play Robocop, and he gave me a fair warning of be careful what you wish for. But I figured it would be kind of bad, but probably had some redeeming qualities. I like playing bad games. It's one of the things I enjoy for some sick reason. And so here's the beginning, right? So I was in the game room here. My wife was in here painting some zombie miniatures. I was just in a really good mood, hanging out with the fam. And we put on Robocop the movie, which I haven't watched in maybe 20 years or so. I found it at the thrift store the other day, the DVD. So I put it on the CRT and we're watching it on the TV. And I think to myself, I should put in Robocop the game. Why not? So I'm playing Robocop, hanging out with the wife while we're watching Robocop. And it kind of reminds me of some things, like I'd kind of forgotten that Robocop twirls the pistol on his finger, and that makes the partner realize that, you know, Murphy's still alive in there somewhere. He's not just a machine. And when you hit the reload button, when you're full of ammo, Robocop spins the pistol, and it kind of had this thematic stuff. And I was kind of thinking that even though the game, I mean, it feels like a mediocre game when you start loading it up, and it plays kind of slow, and you eat a lot of shots because you can't really, you know, duck and move very well. There's certainly no run or anything, and you gotta bear in mind that this came out in 1993, or 2003, which is a year or 2 years after Halo, a year after Time Splitters 2, which had really fluid, fun, fast movement. So moving to this real slow prodding, and every time you move it makes noise, kind of made you a little crazy after a little while. But I kind of thought, you know, through the lens of, you know, Robocop, this is like a fun kind of Robocop simulator. I was in a city at the beginning. It wasn't quite as gritty as the city is in the movie, but you know, you had to blow up some stuff, and there's gangsters all over, gang members, and they're taking people hostage, and they duck down, you shoot them in the face. Felt kind of cool, right? So I was like, you know what? I think I'd like to make my next video about Robocop and how through the lens of, you know, watching the movie and everything, and being a Robocop simulator, it's maybe not quite as bad as I thought it was, or as my friend G-Bro told me it was. I didn't really look up anything about the game, and I just dove right in. And to be honest, for the first 2 levels, I kind of had some fun. The second level is like a junkyard level, and it's really kind of long, and you got to go through some trash compactors, and if you mess up in the trash compactors, you just get mashed and you die. And this is where I learned that there are no checkpoints in this game. None. If you die, you go back to the beginning of the level every single time. And that's not so bad, because I'm pretty good at playing games, I think, and Robocop's kind of a tanky hero, right? Woo, woo, just eating these shots, but you get some power-ups along the way. And so off I went. Off I went running, thinking, this is going to be a fun thing. But then the movie stopped. In the game, she goes on. And on. And on. And on. And it's so bad. I just want to tell you how bad it is. I want to just revile it in front of you, this terribleness. So I guess that's my beginning spiel here. And so as you progress through the levels, about the time you get to like the 4th level, maybe the 5th level, it kind of stops being traditional Robocop type levels, right? And now I'm going into some kind of a broken down cathedral, right? And the enemies that you're fighting are no longer these gangsters that you're just like gunning down and killing, and now they're all these basically semi-invisible robot bullet sponges. And now every guy you encounter, you gotta shoot him fucking 30 fucking times to take him down, and they're wearing cloaking devices all the time, and you never know where you're supposed to go. I started getting frustrated, I remember distinctly, on the 3rd level. You're in some kind of a factory, and ED 209, Ed 209 shows up, and you think to yourself, oh man, this might be kind of a cool thing, like I'm gonna fight this big guy. All you do gameplay-wise is just strafe around him the whole time. You eat about 10 shots as you start strafing, and then you just get behind him, and he can't even come close to keeping up with you, and you just shoot him in the ass until he dies. It's the lamest, most anticlimactic fight that there is. And then you start going around in the level, and there's all these gray doors everywhere, and none of them open, but some of them do. So do I go in here? Do I go in there? And you walk around, and eventually you kind of go through the level, and then you think to yourself, well, where the hell am I supposed to go now? And you don't know, and you wander around the level for another 20 minutes, and then eventually find out that you picked up a key card that you didn't really realize off one of those random dudes that died. And now one of those brown doors that look just like all the other brown doors now opens. And so after walking around the level with everybody dead for 30 minutes, you finally figure out what fucking door you gotta go through. And then you die. Guys are waiting, like, they set the most cheap setups of all time. Like, there's so many guys around blind corners where, like, you just walk around a corner in a hallway, and there's a guy down here and a guy down the opposite way, and it's got to eat all these shots. And that's not so bad, really, because you're Robocop and you can eat some of these bullets, and you turn around, and meanwhile Robocop's saying all this dumb stuff that he would never say in the movies. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Not to mention his freaking crazed bloodlust that he seems to have. He guns down criminals in the face, and he says, it's citizens like you that make my job worthwhile. Like, is that it, Robocop? You just do it to shoot people in the face. It just makes your job worthwhile to shoot people in the face. You sick fuck. All right. So you're making your way through the level, and then you get to like a foundry level, kind of like they ripped it straight out of Terminator 2 as far as I'm concerned. You know, molten junk all over the place. And that level was actually really short. The levels previously had been pretty long and kind of maze-like in a certain way, and you were long. But this one I beat, I don't think I even died in about 10 minutes or so, tops. But then I believe that was the beginning of the end of any enjoyment for me, which was the fourth level, which was the cathedral. It may have been the fifth level. I may be blacking one out. Fifth level is probably the cathedral. Yeah, because the foundry was the fourth level. And this is the introduction of the invisible robots that shoot the what I call the one-shot gun at you. These invisible robots, they look different than the other robots. The other robots that are invisible are wearing trench coats. This robot is now just kind of looks like a robot body, a brown robot body. And you see it kind of sparkle a little bit with blue, and it basically shoots this exploding device at you, and it blows up, and it goes through walls, through doors, through everything, and it just annihilates your health from full to zero within about 2 seconds. And they always love to set it up in these tight little corridors where Robocop has a hell of a time just maneuvering through or dodging. Even if it hits next to you, it just blows up and kills you. And so you've been playing the level, and the first part of this cathedral level is so tedious. What I should do is, if I'm smart, I'll have it run in the corner here. I spent 30 minutes just trying to find out where to go from the first room in the cathedral. You're walking around and you kill the guys in the room, and you find a switch but says, oh, this switch doesn't work right now. And so you go around and you kill everyone, and I was looking and looking, and it turns out that there's another switch, and it's so dark and gray and blended in with the background that it's virtually impossible to see. And the angle that you approach it at from the top, it doesn't even zone in with your little green vision thing. And so yeah, I spent 20 minutes just looking for that switch. And then I go and I flip go back and flip the other switch. And now I hear maybe a door open, or actually I don't hear anything. I jump down from the ledge that I'm on because I just finished watching Robocop 2 after this. And Robocop fell off a like 30-story building and went through the ground into the sewer system below, and he was fine. Yet I jump off this 20-feet ledge and I take robot damage. And so I go down in this doorway that's opened, because there was always one door there that you're thinking maybe this door opens. It looks identical to another door that just never opens, of course, so you never know. And I go down in the room and I go through the little, it kind of leads to a dead end circle thing, and it plays a little, yeah, Robocop, I'm leaving. The guy that dropped you off is leaving. You say, okay. But that's it. There's nothing down there. There's like an ammo pickup, maybe some armor, but nothing. Nothing. And then you start walking around thinking, what happens now? And then you come back out, and now the whole big room that you just cleaned out in the cathedral is now filled up with guys again. So you start shooting all the new guys that are there. These invisible robots that are just everywhere. Bullet sponges. Boy, what a time. And then, but still you don't know where to go. You run around, everything's kind of dark and seems like nothing's changed. You didn't flip a switch or anything. You just came back out and it's filled with bad guys. You're kind of waiting. Is something going to happen? Is some big monster, robot boss going to come or something? No, turns out there's just some invisible, once you go down there and go around the dead end circle, it just magically triggers this grave thing, or altar, I guess you'd call it, to like slide back like 3 feet or something, and it's barely noticeable unless you go back up there and look directly frickin' at it. So it's just a waste of time. You run around everywhere, and then you go down through a load screen, and as soon as you go through the load screen, you spawn into a room with guys around you on every side, and then one of those guys is the invisible one-shotgun guy, and if you don't know he's there, you start fighting other guys, and then you just instantly die. And you say, well, what happened? I don't know. So then you go down there, and you have to do that beginning part all over again. All fucking over again. Moving super slow. There's no room. Gotta jump down and flip the first switch. Get the second switch. Go flip the invisible switch by walking through it. And then you go back down there and you start shooting guys again. You didn't even see what killed you the first time. You're just like, man, I died pretty fast. And then all of a sudden you see like a little blue twinkle and you think, what's that? I'll shoot at it. And you shoot it a couple times, but it's a bullet sponge, so it doesn't fucking matter. And then you turn to shoot something else and then it one-shots you again. And now these guys are just sprinkled all over. All over they're sprinkled. And they're always in these tight freaking hallways. And so you have to go through like 5 minutes of level, and you get really good at not killing the bad guys, right? Because Robocop just eats the shots. So any guy that you don't have to kill anymore, when you come back to life, you don't kill. It's more of a game of just killing the guys you have to kill as you're going through to get to that next part. And hopefully you don't die to the fucking one-shot gun again. And it's just a huge exercise in frustration and trial and error. And it just gets worse from there. It just gets worse from there. They start being more robot guys. And every now and then there'll be a little period where you don't run into one. And you almost for one moment start to have mediocre fun again. One level you actually get to pick up something looks like the Nintendo Zapper, and it goes pew pew pew, and it starts one-shotting gangster guys and shooting down these trench coat wearing dudes. And you're thinking, hey, this might not be so bad. And then you approach a stair top, and there's an invisible guy with the one-shot gun right at the bottom of the stairs, and he just shoots it up, and you see it coming at the last second. You're like, oh no, I'll try to sidestep, and you die. Sometimes you'll open a door and you'll see the blue guy start to shoot the thing. You're like, oh no, you back up and the door closes. It hits on the other side. And you're like, it just kills you through the door. You don't even see the explosion. It just kills you. And I'll have to have some clips here of me just dying repeatedly. And you can see how I'll be at like 80% shield and 70% health. And like just die within literally 2 seconds of like standing within this blue bullshit. And it makes you crazy. I've lost my train of thought here. Let me consult my notes here a little bit. Yes, ignore the bad guys. Oh, sometimes the blue guys with the rocket launchers blow themselves up because the AI is so bad. The AI in this game fucking sucks. Sometimes you'll just find a guy just standing there spinning in a circle. Or sometimes you'll find a guy that just doesn't even shoot you. Every single time I rounded the corner in the I don't even know the name. It was like an offshore drilling platform level. You round a corner and there's a guy with a big purple shield that you shoot, and he absorbs a million shots because guys just get tankier and tankier and tankier. And he just never even fires at you. He never does anything. And he's next to a room with 2 blue guys. You know what you do? You just run past him. I died so many times trying to clean those 2 guys out that I just figured out that you can just run past them and go through the room. Do you think they follow you? Of course not. They're just staying in the room. Fucking stupid. And I can't tell you how many times that I've gotten to the end of levels where they'll have a blue one-shot gun guy, like up on a platform that you can't even see. So they'll be firing at other guys down here, and then you just blow up out of nowhere. And that's 20 minutes into a level. And I probably played that level I could play like 3 times a night. That's why it took me so long to make this video. I could only stomach playing like 3 lives a night on a level before I just got so sick of the game I had to quit. And then the next to last level, you fight a big boss robot with what I would kind of call a boss. It's in the mission objectives: kill the boss, kill this giant robot. You know what it is? It's a giant Ed 209 that again shoots you one time, and then you walk around the strafe and just shoot it in the ass again and it dies. There's another brown unique robot in the mission that was down there. I went down there and shot it. It seemed just bugged out. It never even shot at me. I just gunned it down. And I can't say I'm mad because I dreaded the thought of dying and having to play the level even more. The sound in this game is Not good. It's bad. When you come up to guys that are being held hostage, it's like Robocop doesn't have any delay on the things he says, so he'll just be like, let the person go, let the person go, let the person go, or some such nonsense like that. One of the levels I was playing, it seemed so shoddy, I'm pretty sure they screwed up the models for the bad guy and the hostage. In the level, there's a few, you're supposed to be rescuing the scientists that are working in this offshore laboratory platform. And so you'll be saving guys in white trench coats. You save a guy who's in kind of like a radiation suit type thing, and you're fighting all these guys in blue jackets. Well, you come up upon one guy, and the radiation suit guy is holding a guy in a blue jacket hostage. Like, I think they messed up the models and just wrote the hostage guy as the bad guy and programmed the bad guy as the hostage. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. His voice seems to change. Robocop's voice would change for one hostage only. I would go and he had this higher pitched voice when he talks. He has this low voice, of course, every time he talks. But this one he would have a high pitched voice. It made no sense. But I persevered. I didn't want to make this video without beating the game. But I couldn't play the game very much because it made me so mad. That was one of the things that made this video take forever long to come out. And finally, I make it to the end boss. And the first time I fought the end boss, I fought him for 30 minutes straight. 30 minutes! Fighting one boss. Not even know if I'm hurting him. I'm standing around, and it's like he comes down, and the boss is basically a man who rises out of the ground, and then a tentacle robot arm comes out and grabs him, kind of like a Matrix robot arm, and then picks him up and pulls him back into the wall, and then he comes out of the wall and he swings him around. Like, what a boss, right? Like, that's what he would do. Just swing around and try to fucking beat you to death with the actual boss. Like, he tries to hit you with the actual boss character. Like, is that supposed to hurt me? You think that would hurt him? And so you're dodging him, and you're shooting him, and every now and then, when the arm retracts in, you'll see a little red outline thing coming into the robot arm, and you think to yourself, oh, maybe that's where I'm supposed to shoot. But you don't know. You're not getting any indication. There's no sound or anything when you shoot it. Like, the boss barely makes any sound. In fact, hardly any. The music, I'll have to play some for you because I didn't even think it was the boss at first because the music was just boom, boom, boom. It was terrible. And so I wasted all my ammo shooting at this boss, and when he finally died, I just reset the game. I'm like, well, that must not be how you do it. And then I just start experimenting more with the boss. And eventually I figure out that you have to stand right in the middle of the room, and only if you stand in the middle of the room will it 1 out of 10 to 15 times trigger a different animation. And this is the thing. You might have figured this out. You might have said to yourself, well, Ty, if you're so smart, why didn't you figure out that if you stand in the middle of the room, he does a different animation earlier? And that's because most of the time he still doesn't do it. You stand right there and it still just comes out and swings around like a flailing autist and does nothing. But then finally, every once in a while, every 3 or 4 minutes, it comes out and it opens up the neck or the tentacle. And it looks like it's going to shoot some things. And then you can shoot the robot arm, and if you shoot it enough, it flails around, and a little bit of green smoke comes out the side, and you think to yourself, maybe I'm doing something now. Maybe I'm hurting him. So this boss battle probably took me an hour just to figure out how to start hurting this guy and finally kill him. And he never hardly ever hurts you. It's boring as hell. It's easy to avoid. It's just fucking ball numbing. It's terrible. So finally, you shoot the boss and you think to yourself, I did it. Robocop's over. I'm free. And then it goes to some kind of nuclear explosion countdown or something. And you have 1 minute or 90 seconds or something to go to all these terminals. It's like a puzzle, but it's not a puzzle because you just have to totally guess There's no rhymers. It gives you a bunch of numbers. You'd think that maybe you're supposed to figure out a code or something. Maybe there would be something almost interesting, but no. You just get a bunch of gibberish numbers, 1 through 6, and you got to guess it until you guess the right number, and then you try to guess the next one, because you finally guessed 4, and that was 4 works for that terminal. And then you go to the next one, and you guess 2, and it doesn't work, and you guess 1, and it doesn't work, and then it resets the one you got. So you got to go back and do the other one, and then go back and guess again, and just do all these things. And if you don't get it in the right time, you've guessed it. You go right back to the start of the boss fight. Time to fight him all over again. And it was the worst. Oh, oh God. I hate it so much. And then finally, when you do it all, you've blown it up, you think to yourself, show me something. Show me an ending. And it goes back to this news report. You've been seeing these news reports throughout between each level that give you almost minor blurbs to maybe think something interesting has happened, but they never really talk about much. And it just cuts off seemingly in the middle of the final cutscene. It kind of says a little bit of stuff, but then it literally just feels like it ends in the middle of a statement. And I was taking some notes here, and I'd set the controller down to write some of my feelings down. And I thought when I set the controller down that I must have hit a trigger button or something. I must have hit something that triggered the cutscene to end. So I reloaded. Luckily, when you save it after you beat it, you can reload the end cutscene. And no, that's just how it ends. The end. Completely unsatisfactory, and nothing makes sense. After one of the levels, you hear that the news saying, "Oh, Robocop's gone crazy. He's assassinated the mayor. He's murdering everyone. His bodyguards are shouting, 'Robocop's killing us, no!'" And you think to yourself, where did this come from? I haven't seen anything in the game to ever suggest that there's an evil Robocop running around. And then you think to yourself, oh man, maybe I'm going to have to fight evil Robocop. And then just no, when it's over, it's just, well, Robocop returned. Everyone discovered that it wasn't really Robocop, and Robocop returns with open arms, and everyone loves him. Why even say that at all? Why even have that in there if it's not going to be fleshed out or thought out, even in the slightest? And then I started looking up some information on the game because I just hated it so much, and that's when I saw the developer. Little fox face that didn't ring any bells at first, but the more I stared at it and the more I thought, then I remembered. Yes, the developers of Superman 64. That's who made Robocop. Titus. The cancer of the gaming industry. Had I known? Oh, had I known. Probably wouldn't have ever started. They lured me in with that first level. That seemed kind of fun, but it was all downhill from there. One of the fun things is, it's things that just make me mad are just coming back to me. When you die, when you get one shot, when you're out on the platform, and everyone in humanity is hoping for you to destroy the thing, and you die to the one shotgun by the invisible robot, it goes to a cutscene of Robocop laying there dead, and you just hear people, boo, 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 and then your boss guy's like, Robocop, go back to the academy. You suck, basically just berating you and telling you how awful you are. He's literally telling Robocop to go back to the police academy so you can learn how a real cop does it. It makes you so mad. Oh God, I hate it. You ever see The Princess Bride? And the main character gets strapped down to that machine with the torturer guy, and he flips the switch and he goes, And when he turns it off, he says, I just took 1 year off your life. And the main character starts crying. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's Robocop, man. Oh, it's Robocop. I think that's it. I think that's all I got in me. I hope this video didn't run too long for everyone. I gotta feel I was really trying to hold in my rant and trying to keep everything rolling and keep it precise to the point. I really didn't start this channel to talk about stuff that drives me crazy and that I hate and to yell and complain about stuff. But like I said, this just turned out differently than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have a, this game doesn't get talked about and my friend told me it was terrible, but you know what? Through the right lens, you can have a bit of fun with the Robocop, but no. No, you can't have any fun with Robocop. All it does is hurt you. And that's it. So, see you next time. Hopefully a more fun topic.
Oh God! The children have the coronavirus.